is. Well, in a newspaper interview yesterday, Italy's foreign minister said it was on the brink of an abyss. I sat down with him just a few hours ago and asked, is the situation really that grave?
Well, I think we are facing one of the most difficult moments maybe in the last 20 years. The issue is how will we face the problem? If we face it together with a common European policy, I think that we are perfectly capable to manage the migration issue. If we think that the issue can be left to a single country, to your neighbor, to someone else, we are risking a lot. So we need strongly a common European.
But there's no sign of that. When you see the Hungarians finishing their razor wire fence, threatening to jail people who breach it, a state of emergency now imposed around the border areas. I mean, what is your reaction to those responses to this crisis?
These are very bad signs, but I'm not only pessimistic. I have also to say that 4 or 5 months ago, the issue appeared to be a only Italian issue. We have not to forget that after a tragedy in the Mediterranean, it was April the 18th, our Prime Minister asked for an extraordinary European summit. The summit took place. After the summit, we began to draft a European agenda for migration. And the recent proposal made by the President of the European Commission, Juncker, in the European Parliament were a good step in the direction.
But after the June proposals that the Italians put forward, your Prime Minister said, if that's your idea of Europe, you can keep it when those proposals were rejected. You're not worthy of calling yourself Europeans. I mean, do you share that scathing assessment of the way the Hungarians, the Slovaks, the Czech Republic have responded to this?
Well, my Prime Minister said this off the records. It was reported him to say this. Frankly, I don't think that a European member state can have towards Europe an attitude choosing what he likes and refusing what he doesn't like.
But that's exactly what's happening.
Yes, and we have
How do you stop that? I mean, the German Interior Minister said last night the EU should consider sanctions. These countries get an awful lot of money in development aid. Should the EU be openly talking about perhaps cutting that if they don't cooperate?
I think that this could be one of the issues that we should discuss. We asked with my German colleague to convene a meeting of the European foreign ministers in the next 10 days. And I think this could be one of the issues to discuss.
So sanctions will be one of the issues on the table for those countries who won't take part.
I wouldn't say sanctions, because I don't want to begin from the end of the process. I would say we have to explain to all the member states that you can't have a European cherry picking. If Europe is there, you have a lot of subsidies, you have a lot of cooperation, you should also practice solidarity.
Did the Germans make a mistake by making it very clear that they would take people with no particular end to the numbers?
I don't think so. I think that their move was a courageous one. I have never believed to the debate about the so-called pull factor. They told us, as Italians, for 1 year, that the fact that we were searching and rescuing people in the Mediterranean was pulling migration towards Europe. But this is not true if you are looking to figures. And in any case, we have to save human lives. We cannot say, no, it's a pull factor, we are not saving this life.
You talk about the need for a common approach with that. You talk about the need for a common approach just to face up to the gravity of this crisis. There's no sign of that. Has the EU simply got too big? You've had detractors for a long while. When you look at the Greek crisis, now this, people now dying in front of people.
Yes.
And the EU is not working. Is it irreparably broken, do you think?
But please look also to the other side of the moon, and the other side of the moon is that the awareness of the crisis as a European crisis and the consequent decisions that were taken in the last few weeks are very important. They are not...
But you must have been disappointed by yesterday, the lack of progress yesterday.
I am
frustrated, disappointed, angry.
Obviously disappointed, but I remember, and it was not 10 years ago, it was 6 months ago, when the migration issue was considered only an Italian one. Now it's a German issue, it's an Austrian issue, it's a European issue. We have to maintain this kind of commitment, to enforce these commitments, and this is also a way to maintain the unity of European Union.
Foreign Minister, thanks very much for speaking to us.